Hey guys, Mustached Tom here to review the movie Civil War. Now, I did not see any trailers for this particular movie. It just came into my preview, so I decided to give it a watch. And boy, was I completely surprised by this movie. It is not under the genre of horror, but by God, this might be one of the better horror movies I have ever seen that isn't genrefied as horror. So, this movie follows four journalists in a civil war that's happening in a dystopian futuristic America. Now, given the context that this on Twitter, at least, because I'm a Twitter person. I actually check Twitter from time to time, believe it or not. I actually know that there were a certain number of conservatives specifically saying that if something happens, I don't remember the exact, like if the president or the future president does something, that they would start a civil war. They literally said that. I kid you not, that is what they said. So, this movie doesn't even seem out of the realm of possibility, considering that a threat was made not even that long ago this year. So, this movie definitely presents what the horrors of that would look like. And I'm actually pretty glad that this movie doesn't necessarily explain why the war is happening per se. Not exactly. I think there might be hints here and there, but I don't think it's ever directly addressed. I think coming to that conclusion yourself is a mark of just where this movie's bigger focus seems to be on. Now, this movie follows four photographers, in essence, as they're trying to get essentially pictures to help tell this story or express the horrors of it through photography. On the ground war journalism, old school journalism, as one might even say. And of these four characters, we have Lee, who is this individual woman who seems very desensitized early on to the goings-on and just takes the pictures. We have Jesse, this young photographer in the fray, wanting to explore this as an opportunity. We have Joe, who seems to be kind of casual about her tagging along, but also making sure that she's safe. And we have, I believe the fourth guy, the old man, was Sam, if I remember the names correctly, who seems like he's the old dog in the fight, but he's still willing to essentially try to get out there and do his job despite circumstances. Now, the reason I explicitly say that this is a dystopian future, I believe there are certain bits of dialogue that distress this, again, lack of understanding more so, or not even lack, but more basic understanding of the person over there is shooting me. So now it's actually to the point of it's kill or be killed. There's no why anymore, almost. It almost seems to evaporate from the equation, and that to me really sums up this entire movie. Is probably that sniper scene where we have these two snipers and our camera crew are pinned down and they come across these two snipers, and they were shot at previously. And when they're hunkered down, they literally ask, like, why, the guy asks, Joe asks why they're even fighting, and again, the answer is as simple as we're being shot at, and it's killed, and then you can extrapolate from that, and it's killed or be killed, essentially. So again, the why is removed from the equation, and to me, that definitely lingers on a war that has been going on for a while now, rather than a war that has just started. Because typically speaking, when a war is started, more oftentimes than not, I think people generally know why things are happening. But as time is, spread across and spent, that those reasons start to dilute. People are dying and new people are taking that mantle, and they're just being told you still need to fight X opponent for reasons. And that might take some time, obviously, but it will eventually or inevitably get to that point. So that is interesting. It does seem that this particular fantasy but realistic war, and I say realistic because it seems, again, based on stuff that's happening in real life, it seems like we're on the verge of the start of this happening here in America, which is a definite wake-up call. So this movie is a horror movie that is so well timed in terms of its release. Talk about coming out at such a crucial time to be like, yeah, this is actually like hey, this is a good warning. But what I also appreciate about this movie is that it folds within the narrative of following these four photographers and exploring why it is they need to do their job as is and be, as some people hate the term, as objective as possible. They are not taking sides per se, even though they are technically on a side, being protected by certain militant backers, or whatever you would want to call them, I guess. But more so that they just take the pictures regardless of whose side they're taking pictures of. Again, sort of removing that this why of this is happening, rather than just showing the horrificness of this is just a war with people in it. So again, it's interesting, the phrase, a picture tells 1,000 words. I would actually beg to also have a asterisk next to it. It actually removes a lot of context, though, sometimes. And that's something I don't think is often really addressed in these types, in life when you think about that line or phrase. So it is interesting to have that sort of capsulated in this movie. So within that, we have Jessie, who is the young person who's very nervous to take the pictures at first, and then she's getting this advice throughout the movie, and we see her become more and more comfortable or desensitized just as much to taking those intense pictures that are going to tell that horrific story as the movie progresses. By the time we reach the end of the movie, it is completely flipped, where Lee, her character regresses back to being in a state of panic, and Jesse is the one desensitized, taking all the pictures and trying to get those intense angles that put her life at risk as they're reaching the White House at the end tail of the movie. Because yes, the war has actually penetrated that location, and even the president, in killing him, seems to be as part as this movie's narrative to be like, yeah, there were again threats of a literal civil war in real life, so that seems like it would track to this movie 1-to-1 almost. Like, I would see people wanting to go that far in this so-called real life civil war that seems to be again on the verge of happening or close to happening. So yeah, it definitely covers that, and we have our moment where it's sort of a, bittersweet moment where we have her willing to take that one picture that definitely puts her life on the line. She's not really even almost paying attention at that point. And again, it builds up to it by having her gradually become more and more desensitized to take those types of photos. So it's not like it comes out of nowhere, it's more so that it's built up over throughout the entire movie. So she's like in the middle of this hallway, or she purposely moves there to get that perfect picture, but a gunman on the other end gets ready to shoot just straight down whatever, because there are threats. It doesn't matter who's on the other side, it just matters that there is a threat on the other side. Again, removing that context, removing that humanity even, going that far from that individual, and having Lee dive or step in to take those bullets and to sacrifice her life to save this new upcomer, to have her continue the job immediately afterwards. And she does so because I think there's an implication, even though there's no dialogue that is said, that this is a job that has to be done at this point. We have already come this far because the whole movie is about traveling to this location just to get these photos to tell this story. And that really encapsulates it all. So yeah, this movie is a horror movie. Don't get it twisted. And boy, do I highly recommend it. This is, for me, a 10 out of 10 movie. This blew me away with how great and phenomenal it is. There are definitely other horrific scenes I can go over, such as there is a scene where two quote-unquote friends of Joe, I don't even remember if they were rivals or not, because I know they mentioned how Sam was, so I'm not sure if they were rivals yet or not, but anyways, they're like driving side by side, and then we have two crazy setups happen where the side shotgun driver switches over to one car as they place their cars together, and then Jessie proceeds to also do it, so she's now on the other car, and they end up going further ahead. And what that leads to is, like, further down the line, is they get captured by this other militant group, and this whole scene is like just a scene of what leads to horrific sort of outcomes, where this guy is just starting to question as the other group catches up about where they are from, and he asks I don't know, I forget if it was the driver or the other guy, but one of them is the first to be asked about something or rather. I don't even remember his answer, but he ends up getting shot. And it is so abrupt in how it is done, just showing the careless, or the lack of, again, sides, I guess, or humanity, or whatever you would want to put there. And it follows up by he asking all the other individuals where they are all from. They all say their states in the Americas. And the last guy, I believe he was the driver of the other car, he says Hong Kong, and then he gets shot. So Sam was back in the car, so he ends up saving the rest of them by driving into this guy. Unfortunately, I think he had grappled the girl, if I remember this correctly. Or she, fell over. Now, she falls over into this pile of corpses that was, because they were disposing of bodies. And again, it is meant to depict this horrific sight of, again, bodies just being wasted there. And we don't even know why these people were killed. Again, this lack of knowledge, this lack of context, continuously happening as this is, again, the tail end of the war. And there are definitely other interesting moments of they enter this area, for example, and I'm kind of jumping all over the place because of how excellent this movie is, so that way you can go into it kind of knowing the stuff that's going to happen, but perhaps maybe not the order. But anyway, so they come into this area that seems to be completely unaffected by the war, and they enter into this shop, and they're like, the war has seriously been going on this long that they're the ones saying that this seems out of the ordinary. This seems like the Twilight Zone. They literally say that. This is something out of the Twilight Zone. And, it is that sense of normalcy being removed that shows you how far in this war, again, that this has been going on. How much damage has been done on the outside, or how much damage they have individually or grouped together have been through, to show you again how long this war has been happening without explicitly giving a amount of days or amount of years or how whatever. More so it'd likely be years, considering the lack of knowledge, or the contextless, or the removal of context of that seems to me be an implication of years. Because again, time erodes context, it seems, a lot of the time. So again, that is a very interesting thing to start to bring up in this movie. So yeah, absolutely recommend. 10 out of 10. An absolute brilliant movie. And that is my review of Civil War. And if you ended up enjoying it, then please feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. Also make sure to check out my description. The first link will head you over to my petition to help out small YouTubers. Second will head you over to my PayPal, in which I will tell you the 3 things that I'm going to get if I get more PayPal support. One is a new face cam, because mine is officially broken. The second is a better quality microphone, so that way I can sound crisp and way more better. And third is a gaming console, so that way I can play the newest, hottest games on the PC rather than on a PS5. Those are the 3 things that I promised to get. So that is my promise to anyone that will help support me, is that I will get better equipment. I will promise to do a better job in doing my job. Or what I want to be my job, rather. And the third will lead you over to my Discord, where you can join, collab, chill, and do all that cool stuff for free. And until next time, everyone, bye-bye.